Next up, I want to get into. I told you we was gonna dig into this Timbaland and Suno situation. So, all my producers, singers, songwriters. I don't know if everybody remembers. This is probably about 2 years ago now. About 2 years ago. I talked about this on the podcast. But what I was saying back then was I think the equity for musicians and for singers and rappers is going to be in the makeup, like the DNA makeup of your voice. How is your voice, the vocal tone? How do you say certain words? How do you swing certain words? Do you have a, you know what I mean? I feel like the equity and the real money is going to be in the voice, not necessarily the songs that you create. And some people might, this might be a little bit high level conversation for y'all. Hopefully y'all understand it, but this is just how I think, right? So we just saw K Fresh last week. Yeah, this is last week. We just saw K Fresh go back and forth on Timbaland stealing his song. Timbaland stealing a piece of his content, throwing it into Suno, and Suno regenerated pretty much the same song. It just changed the sounds. That's all Suno did, right? And everything that I have been talking about has been okay, how do we not necessarily combat it from the standpoint of try to squash the AI? Because these tech companies and the tech giants are going to continue to do what they do. They're never going to stop. They're going to keep doing it over and over and over and over. Guess what? You ain't got the money to shut them down. And when I say the money to shut them down, I'm talking about on a government standpoint. You don't have the ability to go to Washington, do a whole sit down and say, hey, we don't want Suno or we don't want these tech companies to take our likeness in our music. So therefore, being that you don't have a lot of the money and you don't have a lot of people that's willing to stand and be unified, now you got the mess that we got going on now. Now we got this big mess. So going back to what I was saying, I think that the future money that's going to be made for musicians is going to be in the DNA of the voice.